Welcome to Four Wheel Frenzy, and today I have two of the Podium guys from our pro race here at Echeconnee. We got Bryce Ford and Joel Hetrick. Unfortunately, we missed Brandon Hogue before he left, so we'll have to catch up with him later. But Bryce, we talked a little bit before you guys hit the track, and we talked a little bit about the track, and they made changes after we talked about it. From Friday's track walk till Saturday's qualifiers, what do you think about the changes they made to the track?
So I didn't see like a ton of changes, but obviously there were split lines everywhere. The track was really good. Saturday morning in qualifying, I was a little bit worried. It was really high speed, really fast, and it was kind of going to be like whoever got the start won the race. Well, maybe that actually did happen, but no, yeah. It got rougher and rougher throughout the day. The split lines developed really good. Yeah, the track was really good Saturday. At the start of the day, like I said, it was really smooth, kind of scary. I wanted it to be a little bit rougher so we would get two lines developed throughout the whole track. And then in our first moto, it got pretty rough. Not super rough, but rideable rough, and both lines developed. It was pretty cool. As you guys saw, Joel started at the back. I started in front of him and then got passed by him and let three other people pass me, and then decided to finally give the thing some gas. But yeah, the track was phenomenal. Like I said, I don't really care about the track. If everybody loves the racing action and Matt Walker's willing to let us race here, that's all that's really matters to me.
Yeah. How about you, Joel? What do you think about the track changes? And here we're getting a little bit of rain to start, so we'll try to be a little quick, but we get wet, so.
Yeah, so the changes they made from last year to this year, minimal changes, but the way the track changed throughout the day, that was major. From the start of the day till the second moto was gnarly rough, and that's kind of feel like how everyone wanted it to be throughout the whole day, but it just took a while for it to get there. Moto 1, it had lines, it was choppy rough, but it was nothing like Moto 2. I think Moto 2 was maybe a little bit better of a racetrack for everybody to get some passing done, a little bit quicker maybe. But yeah, for me, Moto 1 coming out P5, P6, whatever it was, and having to dice through the pack, that was pretty fun, and the track made it accessible for me to do that, which I was happy with. So,
yeah. So Joel, also, you did not lead this both races, the entire races. How did you feel when you were not in first?
Obviously, it never feels good when you're not winning, but it was really scary at first because I really haven't been in the pack with anyone for the first couple rounds here. And then to get in the mix with everybody just going, crazy, it felt like it was crazy for a little bit. Like when I was behind Bryce, I could see Bryce kind of laying back a little bit because he's like, man, these guys are they're all over. And when I got past Bryce, I feel like I had a hard time getting past Mason because I was, I'm all over the place. It wasn't him. Like I was making mistakes, and he'd get back by me, and and then there's people, Jeffrey's breathing down my neck at that point, and man, it was hard to navigate through the pack at the first couple laps. It really was.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was a good question because Mother Nature stopped raining, so we can hear this.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
Bryce, so you didn't win. So apparently what you had in your pocket didn't work out. What are we gonna do next time?
Yeah, to be honest, the first moto would have been my best chance to probably try to get a win. Joel was at the back of the pack, and like he said, I'll touch a little bit on that. Yeah, I've been, in the back of the pack, in the middle of the pack, all these races in the last couple of years, and let me tell you, for some reason, these first two motos here, the guys, every single person was going crazy. Both motos, Wesley in the second moto, we saw he passed me, then passed Chad. Yeah. And yeah, it was a gnarly day for sure. The first one, those guys had great intensity. But for me going forward, it's the same thing it's been all year. We need better starts. I need to get better starts. I need to execute off the start. Yeah. And honestly, during the week practicing, I've been lacking on intensity. I'm like a diesel engine. I'm coming on a little late. So we got to work on that. We got to get better intensity, work on the starts. I'm going to burn a couple clutches up, maybe blow an engine up doing starts. But, yeah, that's kind of what I need to do. I say it every weekend. I don't really practice any more starts than usual, but we're gonna blow up a bike doing just starts.
Yeah. So Joel, you can keep the mic, Bryce. I'll ask Joel, I'm gonna give you this mic as well, though. But kind of touch on what you just said, Bryce. You know, it seemed like everybody was pushing a little bit more this weekend compared to the first 2 rounds. Do you think it has something? You know, when it comes to Daytona, you know, you hear a lot of people just say, "Oh, it's Daytona. All we're trying to do is get out of here safe." And then at Deckers, you know, you had a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's pretty much down to whoever trained here all winter long." Do you think that people tried a little bit harder because this was more of a neutral ground track?
You want me to talk?
You both talk.
All right. So just to touch on that, I think the Daytona thing is true because you've seen in the past riders go down and get hurt. Definitely, it's less aggressive there. I want to touch on the Decker thing a little bit. I think that's honestly, I agree with the people, but I think it's a joke in a sense too. As you saw me, I was battling with Zach. Zach rides great. Everywhere he had speed, he got first for the first part of the first moto here. So the Decker thing, I mean, you know, it's a little bit of home track advantage, but we all ride the same track. The track changes on race day. I rode Briar Cliff for 3 weeks last year, and the race didn't. It was completely different. So the home track thing, who cares about that? But, yeah, I don't know what it was about yesterday. I was off maybe. You know, honestly, in the first moto, I didn't think Joel was really the fastest right away. It was kind of Jeffrey. I was, like, looking back at Joel, and I saw, you know, Jeffrey in the white gear. I was like, whoa, what's going on? But, yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe they liked the sand. I don't know. The track, they knew it was going to get rough, so they were trying to sprint early. I don't know, but yesterday was a handful for me, and I need to be better.
Yeah, it was Daytona, like Bryce said, it's one of those tracks where you can't really get crazy out there. You know, you can only do so much, and I feel like we didn't see anyone being explosive there too much. And then you know, the Decker thing, everybody was kind of spread out. Maybe the track didn't allow it to look or feel to us like it was that high intensity. But here we were all so close, so tight. And the track's, you know, it's a minute 40 lap time, so it's not a huge track, so everybody's kind of bound up tight. The lines kind of force us to be racing really hard because the lines are coming in together. And yeah, I think the track made for that kind of racing, made for exciting racing, but it made for everybody, you know, to maybe in their head believe, like, okay, like you said, neutral ground, 20-minute moto, I'm going to see how far I can get in front of this guy, and then maybe I can hold him off, or whatever their thought process is. But it definitely was it was new to me to feel that feeling of being around those guys. And you know, that's just part of it, though. You know, you don't always get the best hole shots, and you know, I'm just glad I could perform and be one of the crazy guys that got through the pack.
Awesome. And obviously nobody really cares about what I think, but my 2 cents on the Decker thing, you know, anybody that's saying, oh, it was unfair because we didn't train there, we all knew in, November? End of October, November, whatever, that we were going to Deckers for a race. So if you didn't go there at some point to even get a few laps in, it's kind of on you. But thanks for your guys' input on that. But next up, we're going to Virginia, Lake Sugar Tree. We haven't been there since 2020, and it's going to be our first race that's not sand of 2025. So what are your hopes? What are you expecting coming into Lake Sugar Tree, Bryce?
Yeah, in 2020, I think we went there, whatever year it was. Struggled there. I got stuck on a berm once, and then the second moto, I don't really remember what happened, but yeah, years past, I've done bad at tracks and done great the next year, so I'm excited to go there. It's our first time going back there in a few years, so it'll be cool. Kind of as a pro, I have to like every track going into it. Like I said, I got the endurance. I don't have the intensity for some reason, which is weird for me, but we're going to work on that. We're going to work on starts, but I'm excited to go back to Lake Sugar Tree. We're changing it up. Our sport's doing good things. We're going to different tracks, good tracks. We're doing triple crowns. People are putting up money, so yeah, I'm grateful that our sport's in the position it's in, and we're going to just try to make it grow from here. And, yeah, I'm excited to go back to Lake Sugar Tree.
Awesome. How about you, Joel?
Yeah, Lake Sugar Tree is, I don't know. I really don't know how I did there in 2020. I feel like I did pretty good.
Probably one.
I think
I'm not sure.
Back then, it was probably either you won both of them or you split them with Chad.
Right. That was TRX days, but
Yeah.
I think that weekend I got both hole shots on that thing and won, which was cool, obviously. But the track, it's an hour and 45 minutes from where I live now in North Carolina. It should be similar conditions to what I ride on in North Carolina. And, my track, Black Ankle, I'm on a lot. And, Lake Sugar Tree is probably pretty similar to that. Fast, hard-packed, same kind of dirt. Just hopefully, Ryan and the crew over there, I think they're making some changes right now, get it ready for the quads, because it is definitely a bike track. They host their races, and they have trainings there throughout the week. So I'm sure he's trying to make some adjustments for the quads, and I've heard he is. I've talked to him, so I'm excited to go and just get back to a new track. Glad that he's hosting it for us, and like Bryce said, just making moves in the right direction, getting some new venues and getting some new sponsors coming in with these big races, big money races for us is awesome too. So yeah, it's we're looking forward to going to Lake Sugar Tree and getting on some of my soil, my native soil.
That's awesome. Thanks for your insight on that, guys. I want to give a huge shout out to Matt Walker for doing what he did this weekend in this track. I wanted to sit down with him for a little bit. It's just my carny life and his track owner life didn't work out for this weekend, but it's actually kind of cool because I literally just played him on the Game Boy in a video game earlier last week.
That's awesome.
But I thank you guys for sitting down talking to me. Like I said, I'll try to sit down with Brandon at a later date and get his thoughts on everything.
Yeah.
But a huge shout out to Jody for letting us, and Debbie for letting us sit here in their area, and I'll see you guys both in a couple of weeks.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having us on, and everybody involved to get the podcast going. And I enjoy talking about the race and hearing Bryce and Brandon. He's not here, but just hearing everybody's thought process on the race is pretty cool after the fact. And happy to be on here. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Here, I got something you won't like to hear. I'm pulling 2 starts on you at Lake Sugar Tree. No, but shout out to Leon for doing this, really. If you guys can subscribe to his channel, like this video, whatever. You guys don't listen to me when I say that on my channel, but I'm saying it for his channel, so hopefully you do that. But no, yeah, I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be in the position I'm in second. Everything's going great. Our sport's doing well. This is what we need right here. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're trying to change it up. I'm trying to catch him, but it's tough. But yeah, just stick with it, stick watching our sport, and we're gonna make it fun.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the shout out. But make sure also you're following both of these two. I'm sure it's not hard to find them.
Yeah, it's easy to find us. Look us up.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
TikTok.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're watching this and you're not following Joel Hetrick and Bryce Ford, you need to hit that search bar right now. But yeah, make sure to follow Four Wheel Frenzy. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we got a lot more content coming out. So make sure you subscribe, like, comments, let me know any suggestions you guys have, and we'll catch you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.